Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyse the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities, and they usually come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, like entertainers, royalty, politicians, criminals. But today I'll be analysing the chart of a business mastermind, a business mogul, a CEO, boss biatch, and that is, of course, the one and the only Martha Stewart, who obviously was a convicted criminal as well. So she's done time in prison. So respect. And the reason why I'm doing her chart today is because I watched her documentary on Netflix. I thought it was fantastic. I know she took issue with it. She's very image conscious, and she's a Leo, so she's a bit vain. And I love my Leos, but you are. It's just the nature of your sun sign. You're a bit vain. It's okay. I'm an Aries. I'm a narcissist as well. Let's just hold hand and be narcissists together. That's what I always tell my Leo sisters. I'm like, let's just be narcissists together, shall we? What the fuck ever. We're winning all the time. That's why. We take care of ourselves. We are number one. An exalted sun and an at-home sun. So I understand. But I thought it was a really great documentary. And, while I was watching it, because I had it in my mind that, the best business people, the CEOs, a lot of them are psychopaths. And I was like, is she a psychopath? Because she's been called a bitch a lot. And I don't think she's perfect or anything, but I don't think she's certainly maybe there's some narcissism here. I don't think she's a sociopath or a psychopath because look what she does. She's a nurturer. Like, she's really good with animals. She's really good with plants, psychopaths don't give a fuck about that stuff. They're not nurturing people. Psychopaths can't nurture for shit. They're really good at manipulation and all of that, but they're not good at caring for others and making things beautiful. That's just not what psychopaths do. She's very good with animals. She's very good with plants, and there's a nurturing side of her. I just think she's very Polish, and Polish people are hard. They're hard people, right? And I love my Polish people. Much respect. They've been through a lot. But she gave her paycheck when she was a young girl, and she got into modeling. She did really well. She was a working model for many years before she was this big business mogul, and she used to give her mum her whole paycheck to help the family. Maybe she's a little bit of a narcissist, but she's a caring person, and she has some really solid values, and I respect that about her. It's just an inspiring story. So I'm gonna have a look at her chart today just to understand her a bit more. Like, who is Martha Stewart, and why is she the way she is? Because I can imagine she's not a very easy person to work for. She's not a very easy person to deal with. I get it, I'm a Scorpio rising, but I'm a Scorpio rising as well. I know what it's like. It's not an easy placement. So, yeah, she's a very ambitious person that just took no shit, in a time where women were expected to take a lot of shit. So I like her. I do like her. Before I dive in, I just want you guys to know that I've got openings for Zoom meetings in December and January. Hop on it now before they get taken up. Hop on it now, because I only open readings every 6 months to a year if I've got time and energy. So I now have the time and the energy to do this. Okay, so if you want to meet me in the Zoom room and get your chart read, you can do that. I also offer 15-minute MP3 readings, the recording of my voice analyzing your chart. I do synastry charts, transit readings, and full chart readings for the 15 minutes, and I do 5-minute focused readings, which, if you've got a specific issue or a specific thing in your chart you want to ask about, I can do that as well. Okay. So thank you. Let's have a look at Martha Stewart's chart. So as you can see, she is a Leo sun. She's got a Virgo Venus. She's got a moon in Sag. She's got a Mars in Aries, and then she's got a rising in Scorpio. She's got no personal planet in an air sign. She's got Jupiter in Gemini in her 8th house, which speaks more to her being able to create a legacy. I think she's really solidified herself as someone that is leaving behind something when she dies, and she'll also leave behind a lot of wealth. I have this feeling, based on this Jupiter in the 8th, she's going to be very generous to a lot of people and be ruthless with others. I think she's going to leave behind something. I feel like something for animals or the people that have worked for her for a very long time. It's giving like when she dies, she'll leave like $1 million to her maid, like that kind of thing. Like she's going to be very generous after she dies. We'll see what happens, but this woman's leaving behind a lot of money. She's leaving behind a legacy, not just her brand and her TV shows and magazines and like everything that she's done, but I think she's going to be very generous to a lot of people, and not generous to a lot of people as well, to be fair. That Jupiter in that 8th house squares her Venus in Virgo. Venus is not the easiest Venus. It's got a checklist. You know, I always, when I have clients that have heavy Virgo, when I have a Sun Venus combination in Virgo and Leo, they have a checklist of things that they want in a partner. They have they have good taste, you know, at least they think they do. And they have this long checklist of things that they need, you know, good looking, rich. Forgive my nails, I just gardened. Speaking of Martha Stewart, I just gardened. That's why my nails are dirty, so please don't focus. Oh, sorry. Venus in Virgo, and even like a Venus in Leo, they've got a checklist of things that they need, like good looking, has money, is sophisticated, is a genius. Like and these, you know, that's what they need in order to be attracted to someone. But very often they leave off that list, loves me back. And I always tell a Venus Sun combination in Virgo and Leo, make sure you end up with someone who loves you. That's the thing that you leave off. That they love you with their whole heart. Oh, so yeah, she's got a lot of needs. She's got a long checklist of things that she needs in order to even sleep with someone, I think. But I think that is a bit destructive, because if you look at her track record, she runs after people that don't want her. That includes her husband, who, like, eventually her husband didn't want her and she just stayed with him for so long. So yeah, and she cheated as well, to be fair. She wasn't the best either. Jupiter square Venus is a bit of a cheater placement. If you have this, I'm not accusing you of anything. Don't get upset with me unless you have done it, then be upset with yourself. But Jupiter square Venus, because Jupiter's meant to represents marriage. And certainly having Jupiter in the 8th house can bring a very happy marriage. And she was happy for a while in her marriage. But when it squares Venus, the heart can wander. Venus is the heart. If Venus and Jupiter are not cooperating, if they're not in conjunction or a sextile or a trine, it's difficult. Jupiter is marriage. And her Jupiter in the 8th house is that legacy. And that's that business that she built with her husband. And then her Venus is out here in the 10th, playing into the 11th house. It's exposed. It's wooed. If she's not happy in her marriage, she's going to cheat. And she did. And she has. So her husband did it as well. So yeah, Jupiter square Venus is a bit of an indicator that there can be unhappiness in marriage. And if there is any kind of dissatisfaction, there could be some kind of cheating, whether it be physical or emotional or both. Okay? It's there. I don't make the rules. Okay? It's something I've observed. Venus is also, it looks like it's squared. I don't know if I should include it, but it looks like it's squared with Uranus. It's a very big orb. But Uranus square Venus is like meeting lovers, meeting partners in very strange situations. So she has had boyfriends that have, she's met them in very unique circumstances. I'm going to look at her life like she's a business mogul. Like she's met people overseas at some kind of fancy party, and it's been fireworks straight away, and then he flies her around the world, and then all of a sudden it ends abruptly. Like, I think she got with this dude and he just married a woman. Like, he broke up with her and married another woman like a week later. So romances with this square, Uranus square Venus, they can start very quickly and go for a while, and there's ups and downs, and then they can end very quickly. So her Venus is not well aspected by much. I mean, certainly she's very beautiful and she's known for her beauty and her charm, but her love life is kind of crazy. I don't want to say it sucks. Like, I think she's had some good times, but she's really had her heart smashed on the ground and on the floor because she dated a rich billionaire dude that flew around the world, and he had a girl in every port, and she didn't even know. And that's why on the checklist, you need to have loves me back, loves me equally or more. So if you are someone that has a Sun-Venus combination, Leo and Virgo, please find someone that loves you in equal measure, or just a scotch more. Just a scotch. And don't get the ick. Stop getting the ick from people that love you. This is why you get into trouble in the first place, because people that fucking love you are going to want to hug you, and they're going to want to give you love, and then you run away from it, and then you get with people that have no respect for you. and then you keep claiming that you have high standards. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You know why I'm angry? Because I'm an Aries with a Taurus Venus. I'm warm, I'm friendly, and then you guys be doing some fuck shit. And I'm going to tell you because I'm not afraid of you, because I'm not afraid of Leos, and I'm not afraid of Virgos. So let the Aries tell you the truth, okay? Stop with your fuck shit. Martha. You Marthas out there. Love you. I still think you're inspiring and I love you. Uh, now, with Martha, she's very Capricornian, and the reason why is because she was born at midday, roughly around lunchtime. The sun is on the midheaven. So if your sun is on your midheaven, sun in the 10th house or even in the 11th house, you're going to be known for what you do. Your identity, your sun, your ego is very tied with your career. So her being this successful business mogul makes a lot of sense. Her being incredibly vain. And in the documentary, there's a scene where she talks about how she came up with the Martha Stewart Incorporated company that she had, and she was the face and she was the center of that company, like the center of the solar system. And I was like, it's so typical that a Leo businesswoman is providing an analogy of her business with her as the center of the fucking solar system, and she's a fucking Leo, and the sun is the sun is the center of the solar, right? Did anybody watch this and think this is fucking genius? Oh my god, the astrology was just like brilliant in this. They didn't even know what they did, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. She's the center. She was the face. She was the brain, the face and the brain of her company, and she made fucking billions. That, my friends, is a sun on the midheaven. She has Chiron up here and she has Pluto up here. She's a very intense person. I think she can be. I think she is vulnerable. I think she is predisposed to being a bit of a tyrant at times at her worst. You know, she's a bit of a control freak. The Sun and Pluto together, and keep in mind she's a Scorpio rising, so Pluto and Mars as well rule her chart. Like, so just super control freak, just a control freak, and very I think maybe she's let go in recent years. Micromanaging, she could be prone to that. And having Chiron up here as well, losing her money, losing her reputation, that hurt her. She never. This is the thing. That's why I respect J-Lo. Leos never let you see them bleed. That's why I fucking love Leos. I'll bleed all over the place. I'm a warrior. I'm used to it. But like when it comes to, Leo, this kind of lion, like even when lions are dying in the Sahara Desert or whatever it is, like they still project strength even when they're weak. And I fucking admire that about Leos. I love it. It hurt her very deeply with that Chiron there though. Because when you have Sun and Chiron together, you're a wounded healer. And I don't think she discovered this until she got publicly wounded and she went to prison, and then she gave a talk, a business. What'd she do in prison? They talk about in the documentary, she was in prison for a few months and she did a speech. She did a speaking gig for Muslim women in the prison about business. It made me cry. I was just like, oh, Martha. That, my friends, is how you use a Sun and Chiron together. You walk through the world as a healer and a helper and a teacher. That's what she did. It's inspiring because that's on her midheaven. So she lost everything, went to literal prison, and gained a new perspective on life, and she helped people. That's honorable. That's fantastic. Like, I get teary thinking about it. I'm like, oh, Martha. She really evolved. I love the character development of this woman. Yeah. And she's a Scorpio rising, so I completely understand her. She has a Mars in Aries. It plays into the 6th house, so she's a workaholic. It trines all of that Leo. It trines the Leo sun. So when there's a trine, there's a nice alignment with her ego and her work ethic and her fire and her determination, because Mars is the phallus. It's what you're motivated by. She has a Mars in Aries. She's competitive. It makes sense that she wanted to do. It's a 6th house Mars as well. So she wants to make money. She wants to be the best. She wants to be a winner. And then, Mars trine the sun in Earth houses. That's a money-making CEO, boss, bitch, warrior woman. Like, that's who she is. I do think that is Pluto squaring? No, Mercury. What's squaring? It looks like Mercury's not in a tight square. But I'll count it as a square. There's a red line from the Mars to the Mercury. Mercury in the ninth house. That's that teacher placement. I think she's a natural teacher. She's not just a businesswoman. I think she likes to help people in business if they're willing to learn. But Mercury square Mars, I mean, that could be a foul temper because the mind is not in sync with the motivation. When your dick is not aligned with your brain, you're going to act up. You're going to get angry. You're going to lose friends. I think she's cut some cords. She's burned some bridges with the foul temper. I think she's been mouthy and she's hurt people. I think she's been ruthless. I think that's affected her reputation quite a bit. I think that's why she went to prison. There are men out there that have done far worse than she did. Far worse, and they never went to prison. Jeffrey Epstein did some horrible stuff, and he didn't nothing much. I mean, he died in the end, which is karma. But I mean, he got to do he got Uber Eats in prison. You know what I mean? Do they have Uber Eats back in the 2010s? Anyway, but you know what I mean? She truly was punished for being a successful person. And I know she did something funny. I know there was some funny stuff, but I still can't put my finger on it. What did she get in trouble for? Did she burn down an orphanage? This is what I always say when it comes to Martha Stewart, people like Martha Stewart, is usually heavy Leo Virgo placements. I'm like, what did she do? She was successful. What did she do? Did she burn down an orphanage? Did she kill children? What happened? Why is she being so vilified? She was just successful. Because she was winning at life and the men couldn't handle it. It reminds me of that movie Molly's Game. Have you seen Molly's Game? Go watch Molly's Game. Go watch Molly's Game. That's what happened here. So as far as I'm concerned, maybe she did break the law, but she didn't burn down an orphanage. I don't think she deserved to go to prison. I'm glad she did well in prison. I think it brought a lot of good things. I think it was a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, she didn't fucking deserve prison. I'm sorry. What? Saturn in the 7th, that's a bit of a divorce placement. Jupiter in the 8th is a really good marriage placement. Saturn in the 7th or the 8th is also a divorce placement. So a happy marriage that can turn sour. That happened. Lilith is in the 7th. I mean, that's not the best for friendships. Friends turned on her. That friend that she used to fly around the world turned on her in court, and that's why she went to prison. Yeah, so that can be hard. I think that her closest relationships, because 7th house is in Taurus. 7th house is a Venusian house. It's in a Venusian sign, Taurus. And if you look at Venus, where is it? It's up here in the 10th. It plays into the 11th. So the closest relationships to her that aren't toxic are probably other business owners, other people who are in the higher echelons. That's where she does really well. I think she might have some really decent, I won't say colleagues, people that work for her, people that are comfortable with her, that do really well with her, that know how to be around her and know her style, her work ethic. I think those are her closest friends. But it's a very tight circle because she gets betrayed a lot with this Saturn. Saturn in the 7th house is a lot of lessons around partnerships, not just the romantic ones, but the platonic and the business partnerships. Yeah, those turn sour quite often. I don't want to say quickly, but they can turn sour very happens quite a lot over her lifetime. I think it's settled down now. She's had she's going to have her 3rd Saturn return soon, right? So we'll see what happens. Moon in Sagittarius in the 2nd. You know what's really interesting? She has Moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is it's the expansive sign. It's the sign of the teacher, the storyteller. Moon is a feminine planet. So she makes money from teaching feminine things. So the Moon in the 2nd is working with plants and women and children and animals, very domestic, right? Moon is the domestic thing, is the domestic stuff. It's in the 2nd house of money, and that's what she made money off. But because it's in Sagittarius, she teaches that to people. And then as well, she's got her Mercury in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the Moon, right? And that's on the 9th house cusp, which is the Sagittarius. So there is this dance. If you look out, let's move out. There's a dance between the energies of Sagittarius and Cancer in her chart, because she's got Cancer on the 9th house cusp, right? And Cancer is ruled by the Moon. And then she's got the Moon in the 2nd house in Sagittarius. So she makes money from teaching. And that's what she did on her TV show. And in her book, she's showing people how to be a better homemaker. right? She's in the business of homemaking, which is truly feminist. Like, she truly like harnessed the power of like femininity and made money from it. So yeah, Moon in the second, money flows in, money flows out. Like, she lost a lot of money over her life, but she gained it back. Like, she's now having this Martha Renaissance, which I'm very happy for. She deserves it. But yeah, she's a natural teacher, a natural businesswoman. You know, say what you want about her. She's a talented woman and she's powerful. Moon and Sag. I love a Moon and Sag. I think they can be quite ruthless and brutal, but I have my Moon in Libra vibes with that. Like, it's sextile, so I don't have a problem with her. I think a lot of people would. I think a lot of people are happy to call her a bitch or heartless and whatever, say what you want. She doesn't even care. As long as she's got her legacy and her money and her image, that's all that matters, really. And she's got a lot of good people around her, I think. I have heard that she's very generous. Do any of you listen to Dumois? I do when I go for exercise. I listen to Dumois. It's a gossip podcast. And they talk about how she is with her staff, and apparently she goes to very fancy parties, and because she hates waste, again, she's Polish, right? She hates waste. And she'll take like all the candy canes, and she'll take like chocolates, and she'll take like all these nice things from parties, and then she gives it to her butlers and maids, she gives it to her team. So she's actually a very generous person, which is very, Leos are like that. Even if she's strict, even if she's a bitch, even if she's hard on you, if you do your job and she likes you, she's fucking fantastic, and she'll treat you well. So I like that. I like this chart. I think a lot of people don't like her. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's the same reason why, and I get a lot of shit for it, but Meghan Markle has a similar kind of energy. There's a ruthlessness there, but there's a gentleness there as well. I think that, yeah, there's a lot of complexity when you have a combination of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, but that's Martha Stewart, guys. I hope you like that. She's a boss. We love her, and yeah, I mean, I know that she's not a perfect person, but don't we all have a bit of shit in us? Don't we all have, we've all got our things. So yeah, what do you think about Martha Stewart? Put in the comments. And if there's anything else that you know about her that's fun, put in the comments. I'd love to hear more. Have a nice day, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.